Hi, and welcome to this episode of my Vitamin Z's Yoga for Bedtime series. All reasonably short classes so that you can help prepare yourself for a calm and restful evening for bedtime and hopefully fall asleep more quickly and also have more restorative sleep. So today's class, we're going to go ahead and get started. You can see again, I didn't even bother rolling out my mat. I have a nice soft carpeted surface, which is good enough for today. We're going to go ahead and get started so that we won't delay any time between you and getting into bed. First off, we're going to start with a seated butterfly position. So go ahead and bring the soles of the feet together. Allow the knees to come out to the side. If you'd like a little support, maybe a block underneath the knee, you could have some blocks with you, but we're just going to go ahead and relax by allowing ourselves to fold forward, rounding into the upper back, and allow the neck and the head just to hang. And we'll just go ahead and settle in here. Totally understand if you feel a little tight to get started. I think if this is the first stretching that you've done all day long, it might feel a little difficult to release at first. And honestly, we can just expect that. It's going to take some time to allow ourselves to loosen up and just kind of melt into the poses. So give yourself the freedom just to know that it's going to take a few minutes to unwind and start to move your attention to your breath. Instead of isolating out that sensation where, oh, I feel tight in my back or maybe a little stiff into the hips, start to look for the breath and maybe use the breath to expand in those areas. Feel the breath moving throughout the body. And as you change that point of concentration, maybe find a little more peacefulness in the mind. Know that you're taking control of your own self-care and doing yourself a big favor by taking a few minutes before bedtime, creating a healthful environment before you get into bed. Maybe you feel the lower back starting to loosen up. Maybe to give yourself a little more space in the back of the spine. We're going to keep the butterfly legs and bring ourselves back to an upright position. I'm going to turn so that I'm facing the camera so this can maybe make a little more sense. Still with the soles of the feet together. Place the right hand down. I'm going to use that for a leverage so I can kind of lean into the right arm so my right hand is just outside of my right glute, maybe about 6 to 8 inches. And then I'm going to take the left hand, bring it to the inside of that left knee. And from here, I'm going to press down into that knee, pushing the knee away from me. And here it might feel okay, like I can push it really good and easily against that knee and it drops a little more. But I want you to try to drive the knee up. Push the knee against the left hand. So we're going to oppose these two forces, pushing down with the left hand, pushing up with the left knee. I'm going to do that for 10 seconds. So hold with me for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and relax the left knee. Keep pushing down with your left hand. Maybe you can notice your hip opens up just slightly more. We'll hold here and just allow the hip to release. And when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and oppose those two forces again. Lift up with the knee. Drive the knee into the left hand for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax that left knee. And maybe the left hip opens a little bit more. We're going to switch that over to the right side now. So now the left hand goes to our side to use it as a little bit of leverage. We kind of lean into the left arm, take the right hand, push it into the inside of that right inner knee. And then we're going to, just for now, just press the right knee away from us. See what kind of room we have there within the right hip. No worries about what the left knee is doing. Obviously, mine wants to lift as I do this. But now we're going to try to drive the right knee up and into the right hand as the right hand pushes down. And we're going to push down with the right hand and up with the right knee for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and relax the hip, relax the knee, but keep pushing down with the right hand, stretching out the inside of that right hip, also the right inner thigh. And again, we're going to push up. We're going to create that tension within the right inner thigh and the hip. We're going to push up with the right knee into the right hand as we push down. And we're going to do that for 10, 9, 8. You may be shaking a little bit. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and relax that right knee and the right hip. And maybe it feels like it travels a little further away from you. Maybe it doesn't. We're just activating into the hip muscles a little more. Go ahead and release the hands. Go ahead and sit back upright. And then from here, we're going to try to actively, without using our hands, press the knees down into the floor or towards the floor. Most likely, if they don't reach the floor, obviously that's no problem. I like to have my hands behind me as a little bit of leverage, so I feel like I'm sitting up nice and tall. And then when you're ready, we're going to try to drive the knees down towards the mat or the carpet in my case. And we're going to try to open up the knees up wide for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Very good. That is a hard one. From here, we're going to go ahead and spin ourselves around, finding just a nice forward fold to relax into our back once more. Again, we're just going to drape over the front of the legs. You can have a really nice bend in the knees or even a pillow or bolster underneath the knees if that feels good, or just keep the knees bent and allow yourself to drape over the top of the legs, supporting the torso with the top of the thighs. Whatever feels good for you. Again, don't be hard on yourself if you feel like, hey, I'm really stiff. This has been a long day today. And a forward fold, it's essentially at your end range of motion. So if you're not all the way there, if you're not all the way on the top of the legs and you're not touching torso to the top of the thigh, no worries. We're just trying to breathe into the posture and allow ourselves to unwind and let go. Arms can be reaching for the feet. I quite like that, but that works out for my body proportions. If you can't quite reach your feet, you can just have your hands just to the side of the legs, maybe palms facing up or down, whichever works for you. On the next breath, you can allow yourself to walk yourself back to an upright position. From here, we're going to take a little stretch of the front of the body. Take the hands just behind the glutes. I like to spin the fingertips out just maybe at the sides a little bit. Feels a little bit easier on my shoulders. And then we're going to go ahead and take the soles of the feet, plant them down onto the carpet or your mat, and then drive down with the feet as you lift the hips up, coming into our reverse tabletop. Open slightly into the front of the shoulders. Maybe gaze up at the sky. You can even release the neck back and look behind you if that feels good for your neck. And from this position, we're going to shift the glutes forward. The feet stay where they're at. We're going to shift the glutes forward so that they land closer to the heels this time. As you do this, you may feel that you're going to start to get a stretch into the front of the shoulders. And now adjust your fingertips to whatever feels good. And you can stay right here. If you want to intensify the stretch into the shoulders, you're going to begin to bend the elbows and lean yourself back into the stretch. Really feel that into the front of the shoulders. Sometimes when I'm in any of these poses, I find myself almost naturally swaying with the pose. Swaying with the breath, just finding this micro movement, maybe back and forth shifting. Feeling a change of the sensation into the back and into the shoulders. Maybe even into the chest as I breathe. On the next inhale, if the elbows are bent, let's go ahead and straighten them. You can lift your bottom and bring it a little closer to the hands so that we release that stretch. So now we're in a seated position, the feet still flat on the floor, and we're seated up nice and tall. The knees are separated, so the knees are a little wider than our hips. From here, we're going to take the arms and bring them to the inside of the knees. The palms are facing each other. This is going to be another motion of activating both an internal and an external action, using the arms to push against the knees, and at the same time we're going to have the knees driving inward towards the arms. So as we do this, we're going to keep the arms extended, press those forearms into the inner knees. At the same time, press the knees into the arms, trying to keep the arms where they're at without letting them close. As you hold this tension, you're going to feel a bit of a stretch into the upper back and in between the shoulders. And we're going to hold here. Since I've been talking, we'll just hold for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and release. You can go ahead and allow yourself to just bring the torso in between the knees and drape yourself forward. Let the arms hang heavy. Give them a little break. That might have felt like a little bit of work into the upper body. And then when you're ready, go ahead and inhale up. From here, we're going to position ourselves into our yogi squat. So if you have a block or maybe a couple of pillows that you would like to sit on for your yogi squat, go ahead and grab those so that you can get a nice release and relax into your squat. Wherever you're at, we're going to come into a position with our feet slightly turned out at a diagonal, opening the knees up wide and allowing the hips to settle down, as I said, either onto a block, or if you can hold your yogi squat, go ahead and hang out with no props whatsoever. And then from here, we're going to drive the elbows into the inside of the knees. Hands can come to prayer, bringing them to chest, and then the chest. Keep that lifted, gazing up, feeling proud through the chest, wide through the collarbone. As always with your squat, remember your heels do not need to touch the ground. That might take a little work into your ankle mobility. If you're not there yet, just know that over time, it can happen. My yogi squat when I first started did not look anything like this. I was definitely raised up, and I certainly could not hold it for very long. So go ahead and take your time. Give yourself those timeouts. And remember, we're here to relax. So there's no point in trying to push yourself very hard. We want to have a peaceful transition into our bedtime. And discover new ways for our body to release. Again, if you like a little side-to-side movement, you can even shift from one ankle to the other. Sometimes this small movement can make it easier to hold a pose a little bit longer, getting those little fidgets out so that at some point we can come to stillness both in our body and mind. From your yogi squat, if you can, without using your hands, we're going to slowly lower down onto our surface and then bring our glutes back to the surface, coming once more into our seated butterfly position. Again, I'm going to turn around to face the camera to make it a little easier for you to see what we have going on. This time with the soles of the feet together, we're going to draw them in as close as we can into the inner groin. From here, we're going to take the fingers, interlace them underneath the soles of the feet. The soles of the feet are probably opening up just a little bit like a book. And then we're going to take those knees and we're going to drive them out nice and wide. From here, we're going to start to shift forward, but as we do, we're going to use the elbows for a bit of leverage. And we're going to place the elbows to the inside of those calves. So we're using our upper body weight to really drive the legs open. And then as we do so, we're going to allow ourselves to fold forward, pressing down into the legs, at the same time pulling yourself in a little more deeply, using the hands underneath the feet to draw yourself a little more closely towards your surface. Using the position of the elbows just to drive the knees out. Maybe you notice that you get more open in this position or this variation of butterfly than you have in the other variations that we tried today. And keep the breath moving. Enjoying this posture. So grateful that you took a time out for yourself before you close your eyes for the evening. And when you're ready, go ahead and inhale. Bring yourself back to upright. You can go ahead and release the legs, maybe come into a nice cross-legged seat. But from here, this is where I leave you today for our class, Yoga for Bedtime. Hopefully you're feeling more relaxed and ready to get in under the covers and have a wonderful night's sleep. As always, thank you for coming to my channel, enjoying this series, and I hope you have a great evening. Make it a good one. Bye.